Hello, everybody. I am the Bug, and welcome to another episode of Buggy Reviews. Today's episode, we are going to be reviewing yet another one of the Marvel shows that has just dropped on Disney Plus, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Now, I'm gonna admit straight up that I had apprehension with this, because as with the other trailers that came out for the Disney Plus stuff, I was a little worried about how the show would turn out, because if the trailer doesn't hook me in or give me super hype, I start to worry. And I kind of had a similar vibe, I think, with this, but yeah, no. Let's just get right into the meat and the potatoes of it. This show takes place. It says 6 months after the events of Endgame, with Sam Wilson, who's dealing with the idea of Steve giving him the shield. Sam not feeling worthy enough for it, so he gives up the shield. And this causes a bit of a rift with him and Buggy, who's upset that he gave it up. The government, they get the shield and they give it to somebody else because they need a new Captain America. And then there's this whole bit with these super soldier, extremist terrorist people, and it's like a bit of a global adventure thing. I'd say it's basically kind of like a standard MCU kind of movie formula, or just adventure movie formula, but just stretched out a little longer to accommodate it, because it's about 6 hours worth. It's like 6 episodes, and the episodes run just about nearly an hour tops. I think 40 is the least I've seen it be. But yeah, no, it's a little shorter than WandaVision in that regard. But yeah, no, and what were my thoughts on this? My thoughts on, I don't know, the plot was generally okay, I think, for the most part. I think there are definitely some issues with it that just doesn't really work with me, in terms of how characters act, or maybe just the way the showrunners are trying to move things around and try to make you think or see things in this light, but as a result of it, it has the exact opposite effect, I would say. Sometimes it just seems like the characters are a little bit too dumb, and the power scaling to a degree is kind of iffy, just to fit certain bits and ends in there. I'd say, but I mean, it's passable. I would say it's not the worst, but it ain't the greatest thing in the world either. I would say it's kind of right dead center in the middle to a degree. In terms of the characters and the quality, I would say, let's see, Bucky, he definitely had a very interesting, arc of redemption, at least kind of set up, the fact of him wanting to make amends with all the people that he's hurt, by visiting victims that family members of people he's killed during his time as the Winter Soldier. I thought that was a very interesting thing. I feel like if it was just a Winter Soldier show, that would have been perfect. There could have been a lot done with that. Sam is, I'd say he's okay, minus, I don't mind Sam. I like Sam, a bit. I'd say besides from certain lines that just kind of don't feel natural, because I know Anthony Mackie is a tremendously good actor. It's just certain lines in the writing of the show just don't quite work, and I think even he tries his best. I mean, you gotta give it to these guys. to Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan for trying their damn best. You know, we have Baron Zemo coming back. He's portrayed a little more. I love that we at least got to have the mask, although it was only for like one fucking scene, which kind of sucked. And then we had a whole meme of him dancing. It happened. It was a thing. Yeah. Then, you know, I think it was nice to get, you know, a little more comic accuracy to Zemo. You know, just to have that there. It was like, okay, this is... I can work with this. This works. And honestly, he was probably my second favorite character in the entire show. Yeah. Because he was just so witty, he was smart, he kind of told it how it is. It's like, yeah, no, we need to do this, because this is the only way it's ever going to end right. And, my least favorite character was the quote-unquote villain, Carly Morgenthau, the leader of the Flag Smashers, which are just your standard, like, revolutionary terrorist type characters. You know, she's nothing special. It's just like the show tries to paint her in this, like, sympathetic light, you know, because they want to have the world be like it used to be when Thanos did the snap, because apparently it was all peaceful and nicer and shit, because they were the ones that didn't get snapped. But then when people came back, everything went all crazy and tits up, and they just want to change it back. And it's like, it just, when you really think about it, if you dig at it just even a little bit, it's like, that doesn't work at all. And that just makes her character look petty, which I don't think they were trying to go for here. And it's like, they try to want you to sympathize, blah, 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 like, oh, you know, it's like, understand her place, her position, and it's like, everyone kind of already went through that. And not everyone's, like, bombing buildings with people in them and like, you know, saying like, oh, we're gonna kill them all. You know, like, it doesn't work like that. Like, I get what they were trying to go for. They were trying to go for a villain that you could understand, but the problem is there's a difference between making a villain that you can understand and maybe kind of like empathize with to a degree, but not when you're trying to, like, shove it so far down people's throats. You have, like, the main characters saying this thing over and over and over and over again, even though logically they would not be doing that. But yeah. Then, of course, came probably my best character in the entire fucking show, John motherfucking Walker. Like, the U.S. agent, as he, you know, becomes at the end of the show. But for the time, but until then, he becomes the new Captain America. You know, and I really liked his character. Like, he's a soldier who's done a few tours in Afghanistan. You know, he's got like 3 medals of honor. Although he says, like, it's hinted at that's just like, it's one of the worst nights of his life that he's ever been through. He's gone through some trauma. He's gone through some shit, and he's taking up this, like, heavy mantle of following after Steve Rogers. And the thing is, he says he's not trying to replace Steve. He's just trying to be the best Captain America he can be. And it's funny how the show tries to paint him in this, like, unsympathetic, evil, asshole-like light. And it's like, I know from his history of the comic books that John Walker is a bit of an aggressive asshole, and he has those moments. But it just seems like the show tries to paint him as, like, the devil, when in reality he's, at worst cases, just kind of an asshole that really just needed to be talked to. Yeah, because there's a scene where John Walker, he's like, hey, look, I'm just trying to be the best Captain America that I could be, you know, and, like, could you help me out? You know, hey, like, I'm asking for your help, like, you know, and the way they frame it, it's like he's trying to use Sam and Bucky for clout, you know, but it's more of a, hey, look, if you could show me how to do it right, because you two were with the other guy, you two know it. You two could help me, maybe teach me these things. And that's not wrong. That's not a bad thing to ask for. And for the most part, Walker's always been Walker, for like a good part of the show, was like trying to like work together with them, you know. And he was definitely in the right in a lot of scenarios. Even when there's a situation where he loses his shit and he kills one of the Flag Smashers in public, while brutal and excessive, it was like, yeah, no, that's kind of what he needed to do. And like, I understood his frame of mind. You know, he was like, he's damaged, he's gone through a lot of shit, and he loses his best friend like that, and he just catches that one Flag Smasher, and if it was Carly like he wanted to, she would have been dead too. There was no difference. And it's like, I wind up liking him. I like his character arc, and I really want to see more with that guy. You know, I'm very interested. Like, oh, I'm definitely hooked. I want to see more John Walker. Bring me more John Walker. But yeah, and then well, I don't know. You have like Sharon Carter, who makes an appearance here and there, and then it's like, apparently she's a bad guy now for some fucking reason. I don't know. My money is she's probably gonna be a Skrull, because this just seems way too out of character for her, you know. And that's kind of a thing. It's some bits of like the characters just don't act how they should. Even with like the history, even if you just ignore the history of the comics, if you take off the stuff from the movies, it's like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like with how Sharon Carter is so jaded and kind of criticizing, you know, the Steve Rogers stripes and patriotism kind of thing. It's like, lady, you were smooching that guy in Civil War and helping him out throughout that whole fucking movie. I don't see what you're doing here. But yeah, it didn't really work there. Politics and woke stuff. Yeah, that happens a bit here in some moments. I'd say like episode 2 had like one of the most egregious moments where it just takes a complete 180 and shit just happens just to do a message thing, you know, where Sam and Bucky, they're in a black neighborhood, they're arguing, and then suddenly like 2 cops come out and they're asking Sam for his ID, and it becomes like this whole thing. And it's just like, there was no build up to it, there was no reason for it, it just happens, even though it realistically shouldn't happen, because the Avengers don't have secret identities. You know, that was kind of the thing. Like, a majority of characters in the MCU don't have like their secret identities. They're all kind of public, so they're kind of famous in their regard. So it's like, that shouldn't be a thing that would happen in there for Sam. But whatever, messaging. And then for the most part, the political bit only kind of started teetering in when they were going with bits of Isaiah Bradley, who was a super soldier during like the Korean War. You know, who got made to like, who tracked down Bucky one time. You know, and it's like, yeah, there were definitely some shady shit and fucked up stuff going on back then. But the way they try to frame it as if it was solely based on, you know, race and not just like all these other things, it kind of hurts it a bit there. And for the most part, it was okay. It kind of kept their political bits with like Carly and try to make her more sympathetic or blah 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 blah. But yeah, that doesn't really work there because she's not an interesting villain. She's just a punching bag. Honestly, you just want to punch her in her smug little fucking face. That's really all it was. But yeah, and then episode 5 has like some lines that just I don't like. I don't think they really thought that one through, or if they did, they really shouldn't have done that, because it really isn't subtle. Like, here's the thing. I'm not against the idea of having, you know, maybe a political bit there. But the thing is, it's gotta be subtle. It's gotta be executed well. You know, like there was this whole bit in the original Teen Titans show where the characters where Starfire met this other alien who kept calling her this particular slur. I forget what it was, but it was basically a racist slur, and she never tells the other Titans this, and they just think it's like just some cute little nickname. One of them calls her that, and she loses her shit over it, you know, and she walks off and she leaves. You know, she just needs a minute to herself. Cyborg comes in to comfort her, and he goes, "Hey, look, I know what you mean. I know how it is. I've been in your position." And she goes like, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "I'm half machine." But we kind of know what he meant by that. He's like, you know, "Hey, I'm black. You know, I go through some of that, like you." And that was executed very well. Like, it was like, yeah, you can have those things, but it needs to be executed well, and it can't just be shoveled into your throat. You know, it's the subtlety. Like it needs to be handled with care. Otherwise, don't do it at all. Don't do it at all. But yeah, it has moments. Does it take the show entirely? I think it just doesn't help it in the end. It doesn't help it. You know, does it take it? I don't necessarily think so. But yeah, it doesn't help it in that regard. What else can I say? The costumes were real fucking good. I loved Falcon's suit. I loved John Walker's suits. I loved at the end we got the Falcon Captain America suit, because the thing is, I don't mind the concept of Sam becoming Captain America, albeit in the show the execution leaves a bit to be desired to some regards, and they kind of trivialize it in a sense. I would elaborate more, but I don't want this video to go on longer than it should. So, I'm just gonna like wrap this kind of up. I think if you're just looking for a show that's kind of like action adventure-y and stuff, and if you could maybe stomach a couple of political themes that aren't really that subtle here or there, I think, or if you could just fast forward through them real quick, I think you'll enjoy the show. It's kind of in that average area, not the best, not the worst, kind of like right in the middle. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on Falcon and Winter Soldier. What are your thoughts on this show? Please leave it down in the comment section below. Is there anything else you'd like me to review? Please leave it down in the comment section below. Maybe I'll review it, maybe I won't. Who knows? We'll find out. But that'll be all. This has just been another episode of Buggy Reviews, and I will see you all next time.